That's it. I'm tired of the Marth Slander. We're going to put this to bed once and for all. This is a good unit, and we're going to spend every AR match with this unit showing how good it is. Period. That's it. All right, here we go. Match 1. Now, I didn't know that this was going to work at this point, but I mean, we're coming to a point where Vantage is getting better and better just because of the meta. And oh, look at this. Even with Veronica, which is like Marth's nemesis. Seriously. The debuffs just absolutely destroy him. And I mean, he's kind of looking at this like it's silly. Now, I totally lucked out on that trap, yes, but I would have done just fine either way. And once Veronica's done, I mean, this is cake. But Moose Spell is what really makes this thing tick. I mean, he's just fantastic for any Vantage user, right? The added damage, the added attack, the added defense is so-so, but he also has the ruse on there, which really helps me out. As far as the rest of this team, I mean, you guys know Elamine, she's fantastic. She is the thing that started making this all work. And then Plumeria, Reagan, and Ashera. What can I say? I mean, maybe Marth needed a little help from Wailing. It's a lot of merges on these units. Here we go again, and this is Reinhardt. Reinhardt should just absolutely destroy this unit, right? And look at that. I mean, it brings him down to 8 HP, but it doesn't matter. Marth smacked him back hard. I mean, the rest of these units, the dragon effectiveness comes in so much more clutch than I ever thought it would. It's really surprising, but I am really enjoying Marth's kit in general. I think it does really well in AR. I know we're not in need of just another AR carry, but it's fun to try to use these units that are underappreciated, and boy, Marth is. How many times have you guys heard that this is the worst CYL5 unit? I don't know about you, but I've heard it a ton of times. Yeah, get him, Marth. Oh, good times. All right. I mean, the hard part at this point is always getting pots, but luckily we have enough units with range here that we can kind of work around that. And the last thing is Duma, and whoop-ow. Oh, makes me happy to see this going on. Okay. This one here was interesting. I really thought, so the weakness of this offense obviously is cav lines. Like Marth cannot handle a cav line. And I thought this was going to be too much of a cav line. But that was not the case. Marth ended up handling this just fine, and the key is to get him out in front enough, which your traditional cav lines generally don't let you do. This one, because it was kind of a hybrid, definitely allowed me to do that. Now, if you see the long pause here, it's me trying to figure out how to take out Veronica and still be able to get pots while doing all the other things. Yeah, it was a mess. You really got to watch out for debuffs in this. Like, it is something that will really take your team down. And it's not just debuffs on Marth. Since he has like a collective, I need everyone's buffs to get all of his effects on his weapon, it means that any sort of panic that affects everyone else, or your towers, all of those debuffs, any of the infantry debuffs would just destroy him. You've really got to watch out for those. But this is fantastic. I know, we have 300 million units that can kill Edelgard, but it still makes me happy when she goes down. Match 4. Okay, I totally miscalculated on this one. I tried really hard. This is another one of those teams, though, where if you look at traditionally in this season, you have the teams with a huge amount of threat range, and I really thought Marth had more buffs on him, and he just didn't. He couldn't get Vantage, and kaplooey. All right, now, I say solo. This is my alternate team. Since Marth just absolutely cannot handle Cavline, there had to be some other type of team. And so he teams up with Fjorm. I know. Fjorm's a really good unit, and do you really need Marth for this? But I'm here to tell you, like, that Nanna, there aren't a lot of units that can tank that Nanna. That is a huge deal. Nanna is an absolute monster who, for some reason, people are just completely overlooking. This unit is fantastic at dealing out damage, and the fact that I had Vantage means that I could take her out before she got to me, which is fantastic. Now, you guys have seen this before, the pot dance. Everyone runs around, and the only thing that's really helping me here is that Reagan has a ton of speed so that Hatari Azura can't double her. And while Reagan tanks, I run around and do things. Now, it's interesting. We have seen a lot of FEHtubers talk about Vantage and how it's still good. The main one being June. And if you haven't looked at his stuff, it's absolutely fantastic. And he's been saying that Vantage is one of the best strategies in the game, and people are just overlooking at it. And I wasn't so sure about that. There are definitely times when he's right, but he is a very, very good thinker, and I'm not. So I needed something dumber like this. Now, how can we forget this? This is amazing. Like, look at this, Eirika. Brave Eirika. No, not Brave Eirika. Oh, that's so good. Summoners, I was absolutely amazed by that. This is probably the best match. If you look, that Celica actually has a hardy bearing as well. Like, this should have been the team designed around taking out Marth, but it doesn't matter. I did have to be more careful. This one took a lot of thought just to make sure that Celica didn't do something crazy. But the fact is, Marth, especially with Elamine's support, has a ton of bulk. And so he can actually take a hit. We're going to see a match here in just a second where he has no trouble tanking a legendary Lilina. But yeah, all these other units, once the Brave Eirika and the Celica are off the board, is no problem. I will mention one thing before we get too far, and that is if they would have rearranged things a bit and had the Menace skill target Marth, then I would have been in big trouble. But because that Eirika was behind Note, it meant that I could do some fancy things. Good times, right? All right, next up, we have... this is the one I was talking about with Lilina. And one of the things that helps so much here is that Elamine support, where I can make sure that... Never mind, she still got that, that bonus off. Forget what I said. So, she got Gifts of Magic and hit Marth, and he still did fine. Like, that's nice. Once that happens, like, she's the one who has Hardy Bearing built into her weapon, so this becomes a much easier map. But again, my usual thinking is that once I do that, then I'm on the attack and I go get the other team, and Marth really has to stay around people with buffs. If he loses those, then things get bad very, very quickly. So, the cleanup on this wasn't as neat and tidy, but it does do fairly well, and you can see I keep Vantage on Marth, and the fact that he can take out Dual Chrom is kind of amazing in itself. But anyway, the pot dance is upon us. But luckily Marth can get around pretty well in the backfield, and Mira is just a godsend when it comes to getting pots. She's like my hero. Yeah, you can see this is fairly easy. Elamine grabs one, Marth grabs the other, and then Ashura finishes off Mira. And Ashura's resistance, when she hands out like her null panic, it is so clutch for Marth. Now, this one, good lord. Oh, okay, yeah, this was, so we had to go back to Fjorm, and that bonus doubler on Marth is huge, by the way. Like, that spits out a lot of damage. You can see right here with Sigurd, like, that's a big deal. He has no follow-up already, which helps, but he's also absorbing a lot of damage. On that one in particular, we made sure that Sigurd didn't have extra movement. I didn't want any shenanigans where he went all the way around, but after that happens, things go pretty smoothly. Again, like I was saying, I really, really am enjoying bonus doubler Marth. Like it is so synergistic with the rest of his kit when he's just a melee tank. Now, on this one, it was kind of hard getting all of the pots and everything situated, but we managed to get it just fine. What's next up? Next up is our last one. I really wanted this to be another Marth match, but unfortunately we have another Cav line, which have become very prevalent in AR in Astra season. But Fjorm is just amazing when combined with Elamine, and you've got Marth as the frontliner. So one of the big things I was worried about with Marth, for one thing, I tried really hard to get him out front and still be in range of all the other units, and those mountains were just terrible. But past that, and they have Veronica. Like, this is the perfect unmarth map. So I was disappointed that the last match was with bonus doubler Marth as opposed to Omni Tank Marth, but we'll take what we can get. Now, again, where are we here? Yeah, we're at the pot dance again. So we're gonna fly everybody around. We don't need the pots, and wha-bam. There you go. Summoners, this is a good unit, and this is probably not the worst unit in CYL. Seriously. I have been most disappointed with Brave Marianne to this point, which is, I know, absolute slander, and if DTM watches this video, he's going to send me all sorts of bad comments. But she's the one that has the coolest niche, but is the hardest to use, if that makes sense. Anyway, Summoners, I hope all of you are doing well. Have a good one. Take care, and schedule an appointment with your FEHologist real soon.